Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Welcome to the fifth round of English debate competition Intervarsity Science e-Debate Challenge 2021. Round 5 is a silent round. Feedbacks or verdicts will be given tomorrow. The motion for this debate is the House regret the Privacy Enhancing Technology or PET and its impact towards privacy. And I will be the chairperson and the timekeeper for room 4. Let me now introduce you the debaters. Acting as the government team for this debate is UTP, which is Mr. Melson as the Prime Minister, Mr. Zulfadli as the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Afifi as the Government Whip. Acting as the opposition team for this debate is the team from Uni KLA, with Mr. Adam as the opposition leader, Mr. Irfan as the second opposition speaker, and Mr. Adam Haziq as the opposition whip. Our panel of adjudicators consists of Ms. Zara Nadira, Ms. Alexia, and Mr. Matthew. Now we come to our debate today. Without further ado, I call upon the Prime Minister from the government team to start the debate session.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Just a few seconds. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I think that privacy is the main aim here on side of government to be able to protect these people's privacy on the ground, especially the most vulnerable people from the exploitation of bigger tech companies in the first place, right? So a few definitions and clarifications in today's debate, right? Understand that pets claim that they do provide anonymity, but I'm going to explain why within my speech that so-called anonymity is not the anonymity that you're going to be getting at the end of the day. These pets are provided by tech company who you can see uses your data while utilizing pets at the same time. Companies give it to users for a cheap price so that more data is pooled. So pets are privacy enhancing technologies, and they are a broad range of technologies, hardware or software solutions that are designed to extract the value data in order to unleash its full commercial, scientific, and social potential in the first place, right? Examples of pets include cryptographic algorithm, data masking techniques, AI and ML algorithm in the first place, right? What is happening right now in status quo? Right now in status quo, understand there is no place for proper laws or regulations in place to prevent governments and other bigger tech companies from buying your valuable data from other companies in the first place, right? So the stakeholders in today's debate will clarify the vulnerable people, and that is the people on the ground in of itself who uses pets in the first place, right? The burden of proof that we have to prove on our side of the house is telling you that pets have done more harm than good in the first place, right? Okay, moving on. Understand, number one, who actually uses pets in the first place, right? Pets are created by big tech company giants such as Google and Apple, and these are rich tech companies. These companies do not have the main interest of the people in mind in the first place, right? What they want to do is keep on maximizing profit in the first place. They want to ensure that the revenue that they gain every month is sustainable for them. And how do they gain this revenue? Is by selling your data, your valuable information towards the public in the very first place, right? They claim it's accessible, but actually they claim your data anyway to keep you engaged towards the internet within the first place, right? The impact of this, right? Because of this, even if it's through okay, before that, yes.
So you're saying that they are collecting data, at the end of the day you still doesn't have proof to show that they are selling it. Comment?
I think we have seen multiple cases in where bigger tech companies that actually do sell our data, right? For example, the Facebook during the Cambridge and Analytica scandals in the first place, right? These are valuable data information that's being shared. You go through your phone every day, you see targeted ads that's catered towards you, right? What more proof do you need? The proof is already right in front of your eyes in the first place, right? So the impact towards this, right? Even if it's true in a sense that these tech companies do in the best case scenario, do sell your data in the first place. There's nothing much you could do about this at this point in time because it has become a norm towards society in the first place, right? This looks like because people use Facebook or Instagram too much to a certain point that it is free, that people don't mind giving away their valuable information. We tell you that these are, at the end of the day, people do not get the proper education that is needed because at the end of the day, we just simply click accept on the terms and condition without knowing the actual consequences behind it from this, right? So what happens now is that now companies can exploit these users' data without their consent and profit off from this, right? This looks like extracting data from you, from probably a recent Facebook post that you post looking for a good water bottle and seeing targeted ads that are personalized towards you, that being able to give you water bottle in the first place, right? Most likely or not, you're going to click on the ad and you're going to buy it because it's what something you're looking for. Why is this harmful in the long run, right? And understand that this is harmful in the long run because now government now has the ability to buy data from these tech companies in the first place, right? What they can do with this data is now they are able to break down people's demographic and influence people, right? Which means that they are able to see for example, in Malaysia, they are able to see in which certain kind of demographic state, which side is
POI?
pro-Islamics or the pro-pass or pro-BN or pro-Y. These are the kind, no thank you, these are the kind of stuff that government is able to do. They are able to do gerrymandering and they are able to suppress their opposition power in order for them to make it unfair for the next election, right? These are the kind of valuable data that we don't think that is being exploited by PAS in general as a whole. But before that, yes, before 6, yeah, POI.
POI.
Can I start? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Go, guys.
Okay. You're talking about
Okay.
personal ads and stuff like that. Can I have
Okay,
it POI
yeah.
or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So you're talking about personalized ads and stuff like that. The thing that you don't understand is that PET is basically just minimizing, and basically the company that using the AIs are the one that is maximizing the output. So I want to comment about how can you say that these companies are basically giving out information because those are the faults of the AI itself from the companies.
We tell you that these are AI technology that are given out free, right? And where do they actually gain their revenue from? They gain their revenue from ads, right? Because at the end of the day, these are things that happen backdoors, right? Because there's no proper rules and regulations in place for you to be able to, there's no rules and regulation in place for you to be able to have transparency over these kinds of companies within the first place. Right? These are kind of things that happen most likely or not throughout back channels and selling your data towards government officials and all that, right? Because there's no rules in place for this kind of stuff to be able to this one, right? So now we tell you that on the side of the house where government now has the incentive to manipulate votes in order to retain power for them, right? Why this is very, very harmful? This is very, very harmful because it affects people who are on the fence, right? Because people who have no idea about politics or no idea about the next government election and what's going to happen, right? These are the kind of ads that show to these kind of people and towards to gain their votes and swing their votes by towards in favor of them, right? Which means that now these kinds of stuff that happens number one, do not allow people to do their own research because they are being bombarded by these targeted ads within the first place, right? This looks like, for example, China on pro-democracy people or anti-LGBT governments in conservative states within the first place, right? We tell you that it is on ops side it is ops burden to prove why all of these harms towards pet privacy is far more justified than it is when I've given you the 3 major effects towards this. Therefore, go with side government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To open the case from the opposition team, I call upon the Leader of Opposition to continue the debate session.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, Adam.
Okay, let me just open my timer just in case. I will start in 1, 2, 3. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to all of judges, chairperson, and everyone that are tuning into this live. So before starting to this debate, I want to share something with you guys. I think that this is important before starting this debate. Technology is evolving rapidly. Artificial intelligence, geo-targeting, automation, and other advancements in information technology specifically set the stage for more technical evolution. I think we all can agree with that. We should be thankful for the data that they use in order to achieve this technological evolution. Without them, we cannot achieve it. And relating to today's motion, this House regrets the privacy enhancing technology (PET) and its impact towards privacy. Actually, I don't understand what the government side has been saying. They didn't even define what PET do and how objective what PET really do. Actually, they only giving assumption on what effects the PET given to us and how they can sell data. I don't think that is true. So I think that PET, through a term, is technically used to refer technologies or approach that can help mitigate privacy and security risks. Everyone, let me repeat, can help mitigate privacy and security risks. How can the government side say that this kind of PET selling our data? That is not even true. And furthermore, the objective of PET is to protect personal data and to ensure the users of technology information is confidential. And the management data protection is priority to the organization who withhold the responsibility for it. So if we already give consent to them, it's their responsibility to make it safe. And basically, in summary, they are using a lot of technicals to ensure the safety of users' privacy. And that is important here. We are talking about privacy here. Our stand is very clear. We want to ensure that PET will ensure the safety and privacy of our data. The stakeholders here are not the vulnerable people who are using PET. It's the people, the society itself that data has been stripped off. This privacy are important here. I think that people and society and their data is important, the important stakeholder. And I don't agree with the status quo by the government itself. I think that data privacy relates to how piece of information should be handled on its relative importance. For instance, you wouldn't like to mind sharing your name with a stranger in the process of introducing yourself, but there's other information that you don't want to share, at least not until you become to know that person. So this, why is relevant to this is that when data should be kept private goes into the wrong hands, bad things can happen. A data breach at a government agency can, for example, put a top secret information that is from the government itself to the enemy state. This is important, guys. What happens if there is no PET? If the data gonna be stripped off, and are they gonna be lost like that? If they say that they regret, and if we regret that PET is not here, what happened to the transaction and the legitimacy of the data share? And going on into the burden of proof to the government team, how can you ensure the safety of the society without PET? You guys don't even say that. And also, what makes me more angry is that they don't have the mechanism on what to cover if there is no PET. They're only talking about the bets of PET and how people can make money from it. That is not important. We want to know where is the mechanism and how you going to cover it without PET. And okay, oh sorry.
POI.
Wait, yeah. So into this, today as a first speaker, I will be talking about the benefits of PET and how it's impact. Our second speaker will be talking about the benefit if the motion passed and if not passed. Yes, before I move into your rebuttal.
So are you saying that there are no other anonymization techniques and PET is the only way?
I do agree, but I think PET is the most relevant right now. I hope that's clear everything. And moving into the rebuttal, the Prime Minister always say about the selling of data in order to achieve maximum profit. How are you sure they are taking our data without consent? People already know that PET, they use PET to give consent to them to help them protect their data. My refutation to that is that PET, like I said just now, is to protect, and it's already been proven by a lot of businesses are using it in order to achieve the safety of the data itself. And I think that is all the argument from the Prime Minister. I will moving on into my first point of the day, my argument. So with PET, if there's no PET, what will happen, right? So what PET does and is to exercise more control over what personal information is sent to and used by online services. So basically, for example, with PET, we can allow individuals to limit their type of quantity information that they disclose to third parties. This is not saying that we are only giving a certain amount, not really all. So what are they going to use with the data, right? Privacy enhancing technology is a method to protect the privacy, personal, and or sensitive information. The PET are used to save the privacy of personal and sensitive information. That is important. And we can see PET have been used in the reality, which is the first one, the financial institution. They are responsible for protecting our privacy of the customer due to citizen freedoms to conduct private deals and transactions with other parties. What happened without PET is that people can know what are we paying. Do you wanted that people to know you have so much loan that everyone know that is so bad. That's why PET is here. They minimize the point. They minimize the data that shared to the third party, and also same goes to healthcare industry because they share clinical data to improve the needs itself. Without PET, everything will be gone to everything will be a hair wire, and that is why the importance of PET. Data protection is important because it safeguards valuable information, which is critical to asset to your life. If your data is breached, then we are not taking care of it very seriously. Many organizations deploy measures to protect their data from being accessed by unwanted individuals. For example, not all information in company has been seen by employees. Why do you know that? Because we don't want people to know what is private between employees and the employers. This is important. The privacy, we don't want it to go to someone's hand or that. The long-term consequences of a data breach is that the loss of the loss of trust. And like I said just now, privacy is more important than this. So I rest my case.
Thank you, Mrs. Speaker, for the speech.
Can I get like 2 minutes to set up my camera? 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Adam. Actually, I forgot to change the layout. To open the case from the opposition team, I call upon the leader of opposition to continue the debate session.
Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. The election where Donald Trump won the election is more than enough. One of the most like brightest examples of why this debate needs to happen. Even Facebook deploying pets during the era, there was still like independent reports to show that Facebook actually sold their data to governments, so that these parties can actually influence their votes, can actually influence their people, and actually influence their political biases to actually achieve all the harms that Nelson mentioned earlier in his speech. Right, there has been international reports, like Panama Papers. You can go look it up. There's like famous documentaries like The Social Dilemma, showing all this process as to how all these harms have already transpired. Right, recognize that this is a value judgment debate. This is not a policy debate. There is no burden on government whatsoever to provide a sort of mechanism as to how we want to move past PETs. Right, if we can prove our burden mentioned earlier that PETs have brought more harm than good, then we will automatically be taking this debate, right? So now I made it clear. I think my extension is going to be simple. Number one, how selling data actually works, and how there's no laws preventing that from happening. This is like further touching on like Martin's point, and also a new extension regarding the other people who use stakeholders, who use like pets such as cyber criminals to actually like hide their locations and whatnot, right? But before that, a few layers of response, right? So I think the biggest chunk that I was missing from the opposition was that when he tells you how pets work, he tells you that, oh, like it is designed to protect privacy. It's designed to protect privacy from outsiders. It's designed to protect privacy from outsiders from taking your data. It does nothing towards the technology companies who are actually providing you that service in the first place, right? And it's important to note that pets are actually expensive to actually design and very difficult to use from the get-go. The only reason why users are able to tap into this data is because these companies make it accessible, make it easy to use, but at a price at the price which is your own data. That if we give you all this protection, then it's fair that we give you that we give you that we take some of your data for us for storage purposes, right? The reason why we tell you that there has been these companies actually sell off your data. It has happened in the past, and the reason why they are allowed to happen is because there are no laws actually preventing that from happening. The only laws that we have currently are only things to prevent to actually incriminate people who do cyber hacking, who do like phishing or online scams. There's yet to be any form of rule against companies like Facebook or Apple who actually use your data and actually being able to sell it off. No response of opposition regarding this, right? It's opposition's burden to prove that there is somehow a law regarding to this, or that the law is being implemented properly. It is not happening currently, and if anything, pets actually leverage all of these harms towards the general populace and give all of the money and all the benefits towards these companies who line up their pockets, right? Because it's correct that what they always said, technology is moving super fast, but that's the problem, right? The fact that it's moving so fast, these technology companies be able to reap off all these profits, take all your data and sell it off, right? We've already showed you why they want to do it. We show you that there are incentive structures, and we showed you that there are no laws protected. Right, sit down. So I'll tell you later. So now, like the whole point of like trying to prevent loss of trust about privacy, right? I'll deal with that into my extension, right? So let's touch a bit upon how these companies actually work, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it only protects you from outside attacks, but there's nothing between you and the technology companies that you subscribe to, right? In terms of all these pet services, right? A lot of your data has already been given to you voluntarily, or if anything, without your consent, because oftentimes they will shove it in very huge amounts of legal jargons and things like the contract. The contract policy, the contract policy things that nobody reads and nobody goes through. All of this is ways for government or for these companies to actually gain your consent to actually keep your data, right? There's, like I mentioned earlier, no laws to actually prevent companies from selling your data, and in fact, government is scrambling to actually do something like that. Please sit down, right? So, let me sit down. Why is this so harmful? We already showed you the incentive structure, right? And Nelson already tells you things like gerrymandering and privacy or property will be intruded, right? All of those harms that he mentioned earlier, China, like the US or even conservative states, right? These are very bright examples to show how all the harms that opposition tell you, like people losing trust in their governments, people losing trust in their social media services or in their tech companies, are already happening inside the school, even with the existence of pets, right? That all of these harms happen during this era, or during this rise of pets. All of these harms that opposition mentioned and people lose trust in their social media already happened, right? The very fact that Social Dilemma had to come out and make this movie and people still watch Netflix, people still use Facebook, is more than enough. It's more than enough thing that people have gotten way too comfortable with that, where their data being out on the net, right? Like just yesterday, after I finished like the first round, I got an ad from StreamYard. How is it that these pets are actually working the way they're designed to be? Because recognize that pets although it was designed to protect privacy from outsiders, it was also like further designed to actually allow companies to keep ripping off your data without the interference of other companies being involved, right? Before I move on, touching about cyber criminals, I'll take one from opposition. Okay.
All right. You're talking about facts and basically just assumptions about multiples and countless companies, but that doesn't even show that how this PET is basically corrupt, because we don't see any problems that PET cure right now.
Please read the Panama Papers after this debate ends, because that's literally like that entire data leak that happened. It happened even with the existence of pets, right? Like I literally, you can just Google my baby pictures, you can actually still find it. Actually, it's kind of funny. So we already showed the examples of how like pets have failed us, and we showed the statistics of government of these companies, right? But how about cyber criminals, right? We think that since it's very complicated to use, we think that the other stakeholders who want to use this to actually incite harm is actually your cyber criminals, right? Your cyber criminals who are able to utilize this pets to actually keep the data anonymous from government bodies, to actually give them the trial they deserve, to actually find their location and whatnot, right? Like these cyber criminals have the ability to hide behind this technology to do all their crimes, like their hacking, their mass money, like crypto scams, their mass money laundering schemes and whatnot, right? Opposition is okay with this happening, okay with these people utilizing these pets for harmful purposes, right? It is on opposition to prove that this pet have done more good than harm. It is also opposition to prove that somehow it's okay for cyber criminals to use, and somehow it's okay for government to sell your data off to government for you to be exploited. Proud to propose.
I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks. Now, I call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to continue the case for their side.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is why we do not want the government to rule the world again, because we believe that they do not really understand, that they do not really state to us that the problem that mutually exists with PAT in the first place. Now, when we talk about things that are already in status quo, what can they actually prove to us? On their side, is it going to be even better? By regretting this, is it actually going to be even better, or probably to provide us mechanism or things that we could probably look at just to leverage whether our side is even better or their side is even better at the end of the day, right? But before I talk about this, before I talk about my arguments for today's debate, I'm gonna do a few rebuttals, and I'm gonna do a few rebuttals. Then I'm gonna provide you extension on what my leader of opposition has said to you, and I'm gonna provide you 3 or 4 arguments here in the first place. I'm gonna provide you first a relevancy of PET. Second, I'm going to talk to you that if this motion passes, what actually happens, that people are not if this motion actually passes, that it's going to be even worse because there are no mechanism there for people to even be safe. At the end of the day, third, I'm going to talk about exploitation of data, and then I'm going to talk about what are the benefits if this motion does not pass in the first place. Now, I'm going to talk about a few rebuttals that what they say. No, we truly understand. What they said is just basically on the fact that people and big companies are gonna take your data, and that this company are selling your data. Look, it even exists even without PET. It even exists even without PET in the first place. There's no real. I don't really see any mutually exclusive problems that exist. Therefore, I don't really know how do you even rebut, how do you even provide an argument for that. I think at the very least you provide a mechanism. If you do not actually want to explain even more, just provide a mechanism so that what we can see is that your side is even better than our side at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we truly agree that the safety. We truly agree on the safety and privacy of the data of the people, because at the very least on our side that we actually have a privacy enhancing technology rather than not having any in the first place, right? Now I'm going to talk towards my first argument, which is the relevancy of PET in the first place. Now, what we have talked to you, what my leader of opposition had talked to you, that in status quo, that PET is already being used in the first place, and that is what the side government is already agreed that PET is being used. When we talk about non-existent of PET, what are the other ways for people to opt to using? What are the other safety features that people could be using? Without having any of these, I think it poses even more threat rather than having PET in the first place. It plays even more harm because when we talk about safety feature of PET in the first place, that we're just using a few data, and probably that data holds the most data of that person probably, like when we talk about address of that person is included within its name. That PET actually uses its name only rather than having the data and having the full details of that person itself, like the details of their address, or the details of their homes or IC and so on. But what is it? Why is it that relevancy of PET? Why is there a relevancy of PET in the first place? Because it is currently being used. When we talk about safety, other safety features, yes, I do agree there are other safety features. But I think what makes PET is even more relevant is because it is currently being used. Because when we talk about new safety features or new other mechanism or new safety features is going to be used after this, it's going to provide even more harms, because the transition period to a new safety feature, I think if you can make it smoother, then good enough, I think. But there's no mechanism that has been stated by the side government. But if it's not smooth, I think that will be even more harmful, because when we talk about the transition towards a new safety feature, is the fact that the data and the privacy of people are at stake. When people are when there are no safety feature at all, people are possessed towards hacker, and the hacker could probably steal their details at the end of the day. Now, I've done about relevancy of PET. Now I'm going to talk about the harms of this motion, if this motion passes, right? Because it is even worse, because there are no other mechanism for me to talk to about, because there are no other mechanism on the government world to actually save and guard the privacy and data of these people, which is what our premise in the first place, to ensure the safety and privacy of our society data. Look, when we talk about there is no safety feature, don't you think that it actually poses even more harms towards the stakeholder, which is the society that use internet, that use bank transaction, that use it to pay their medical bills, or probably pay their bills and so on. When there are no safety feature, they are more prone towards hacker. That hacker is much more easy. It is much more easier for hacker to hack into the system to just get their details, PIN number, because in a split of second, they can simply get the PIN number, so that the hacker can probably enter their PIN number and go towards a bank account and get their details and get their money. So are these the kind of things that the side government wants actually for today's debate, which I don't understand? No. Next, I'm going to talk about exploitation of data. Right. When we talk about what I have talked earlier, that when there are no mechanism, that there are no proposal that has been given by the side government, people are doing actually with the data is probably to use it and exploit it for their own monetary gain. Let me put an example. If they use this data, let me put in the situation that data of a child's data in the first place. Probably like they take this child data, how this data could actually be used for monetary gain. Probably like China could get this data from easily without this safety feature, and then just simply use it for their own monetary gain. To probably use the child data to probably see the trends and the toys that kids want, and they create it, and then they will simply monopolize it and lobby this kind of sector of economy, which could be even more harmful towards your own country itself, because more probably like Malaysia itself have this kind of trend. Therefore, when China actually take this, they're going to lobby and harm the local industry at the end of the day. We think that is more harmful that, not having privacy enhancing technology rather than having it in the first place. Therefore, we decide opposition truly disagree with today's motion. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the remarks. Afifi, is this the... Okay, I think it's the correct one.
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just a moment, yeah. Okay, give me a moment, 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna start my speech in a bit. Panel, understand that all of the important points brought to you by side opposition are things that have already existed within status quo, things like basic personal data protection, right? I think that a lot of the contention coming from side opposition is basically telling you why privacy is good, but they're not necessarily debating or arguing to you why the PETs are necessarily a good effective tool to protect privacy in and of itself, right? But let me just waive the whole idea of personal private data protection and privacy. I think that there are already laws existing within status quo to protect your privacy in the first place. That's the most basic necessity that every country needs to have in order to protect their stakeholders from this data breach, right? So if they're arguing about why privacy is good, yes, we agree that privacy is good, but we just don't believe that PETs are the perfect form for to protect your privacy, right? Because, for example, you already have Personal Data Protection Act in Malaysia, for example, and you also have other sorts of personal data protection acts all over the world. Therefore, the whole argument of why privacy is important is also mutually exclusive under our side, but they never told us why under their side that their benefits are only exclusive for when you have PETs, right? But that second flaw, right? I think it's an assumption that is wrong when the LO suddenly came to us and said that, without PETs, everyone will now know your financial transactions, and it's harmful for financial institutions and whatsoever. I think that number one, that is false, because money transactions already follow a certain set of rules and regulations that exist within status quo. And I think that this has nothing to do with PETs, right? Because they fail to acknowledge that the functionality of PETs in the first place. They don't even, I think side opposition here is confused about what PETs are and what they actually do, right? My whole government bench has done a good job in characterizing what PETs are, right? We've already told you that these PETs are actually a tool that they're designed to extract your data and to unleash certain information, such as to unleash its full commercial, scientific, and social potential, right? What this means is that businesses, for example, Google and Apple, who are the technology companies, they are using PETs as a tool for them to extract your information from users, right? Zul DPM has already explicitly told you that PETs seem to be free to consumers at the expense of your data, which means that these PETs, sure, they are accessible to people in general, but at the expense of your data, which means you are providing these PETs the PETs can still access your data even without you acknowledging that you're actually filling up certain details, because we think that these things are still possible, right? We think that the rise of cybercrime is more imminent with the existence of PETs, because we think that if you allow a certain technology to actually preserve your information, centralize your information, it makes it much easier for entities such as companies to actually extract your data, to exploit your data. It also makes it much easier for cyber criminals to actually access your data, all centralized from these PETs, right? Because they already know that all your data is stored within these PETs. So, for example, what does this look like? What are the tangible harms that we tried to propose to you for today? We've already told you that, number one, there is illegitimate use of private data by these businesses, for example. For example, Google and Apple, they can easily exploit your data from PETs. They can easily use your privacy, your personal data to the advantage of their businesses, right? Because they know that no other business can compete with them, because they already have your data and it's only exclusive to them, right? So it's not just businesses who can exploit this private data. Data disclosures can also be used for malicious use, right? So what this means is that, for example, you can also have cyber criminals hacking into your data. You can have crypto scams. You can have a lot of money laundering, right? Because they know how to extract your data, even with or without you knowing, even with or without you actively filling out a form and filling out your details. It's not as easy as that, panel. It's not just because PETs, you don't fill in your full data, then you're fully protected. It's not the case. The thing is that PETs are designed to be complicated, so that it's easy. It's easy for these companies who control the PETs to extract your information. It's much more easier for them to hack into your to your information, right? So, for example, let's talk about cyber victimization. How crypto scams and money laundering is much more prevalent with the usage of PETs, right? Because because you actually allow PETs, you actually surrender your you
POI.
actually allow privacy to be stored with PETs. So you allow cyber criminals to acknowledge that PETs is the easier way out to hack into this data. So it makes data breach even much more
Right.
easier under your world, right? Where you allow PETs to exist. Under a comparative, right? Which world would we want to subscribe to? Would we want to actually okay, for example, both sides also want privacy, right? But right now the comparative is which world would you prefer in order to have a much more safer environment, right? Um, would you want to have PETs actively taking your data and using it to their own advantage, or would you just don't have PETs at all, right? So therefore, all the tangible and imminent harms don't exist by the end of the day, right? So we've already proven to you how it's so harmful because not just businesses but also government is able to buy these data from these technology companies. So and it is used to break down into things that will bring to their advantage. For example, governments can use it for their political advantage. Businesses can use it to their own advantage, competitive advantage against other competitors. We also believe that privacy is important. But we have already proven to you all the levels of how PETs are much gonna make your privacy much more worse. In that, we are definitely proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
Yes, a minute. Okay. It
Y'all
is
hear me?
now time to listen to the rebuttals of opposition whip.
Hello. Y'all hear me?
Yes, listen.
Right. I'll start my debate session in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, what have we learned today? We have learned today that the government side today is very problematic. They are basically setting facts. They are stating multiple accusation and assumptions based on companies that doesn't even have relations to PET. They doesn't even state the problem between PET itself. They're just basically just using their assumptions to attack our side today. And the second problem about the opposition side, the government side for today is they are talking about how the cyber crimes are increasing daily and daily, which prove more to our points, which is the current method right now doesn't work itself. That is why we need PET in the first place. All right, so moving on. Before I start my debate session for today, I will divide my room into two. First, I will rebut every single thing that the government side said for today, and second, I will stand for our case, which is the better case, the opposition side. All right, so moving on to the first speaker from the government side, they are talking about how this company are buying data, how they are personalized ads and stuff, and suddenly they're leading towards China and stuff like that, and there are no stepping stones towards that. Suddenly they're talking about how these bombarded apps are being shoved into your face, and then suddenly they're talking about China and stuff like that. We don't see the relations, we don't see the connected dots, we don't see basically anything about the personalized ad that could actually bring the harm towards the China economy and stuff like that. We could not see the bigger harm, how of these ads could basically just destroy your company and stuff like that. We don't see that, and by that, we believe that the first point from the opposition side, from the government side, has already failed to show us what is important for us to cancel out this PET. All right. So moving on to the opposition side, we are trying to show you that how this PET are trying to control every single thing. But basically, PET is for clearance for everyone to understand. PET is basically a restriction that exists for you to actually just maximize an input. For example, for your name and stuff like that, which are already explained by the second speaker, your name, your address and stuff like that. They maximize those kind of things using machine learning and AI. Again, I am repeating what the first and the second speaker, and maybe the Prime Minister already said. They are maximize the best output, best output using AI and machine learning. So basically, we don't need a lot of information. We don't need maybe IP address, locations and stuff like that. Yes, you could say that these kind of things are being held by the PET itself, but you never even stated the facts that how PET itself is a problematic issue. You're just stating that okay, this company has problems with this company have problems with privacy issues and stuff like that, but doesn't even connect the dots. How does it relate to PET? What does PET does that is problematic itself? You're just basically making dumb assumptions about, okay, this company could buy this company could buy PET itself, the privacy information and stuff like that. But we don't see where is the fact, where is the real issues here. You are just basically making assumptions that doesn't have any fact to back it up. All right. So moving on to the second speaker of the government side. He's talking about how this kind of problems have been happening in the past and stuff like that. Again, based on mere assumptions of other companies' mistakes and stuff like that. They are talking about Google, they are talking about Apple and stuff like that. Yes, we understand that there are privacy issues and stuff like that, but where is the relation? Where are the dots that is connected to PET? And where is the main point which shows that PET itself is problematic at the end of the day? So they are basically, again, from the first speaker to the second speaker to the third speaker, they are just basically just throwing out facts and assumptions that doesn't even have relation to show that the PET itself is problematic, Mr. Speaker, sir. All right, and then they are talking about how there are laws to avoid data corruption and everything like that, and how basically they are saying that what happened if a criminal use PET and stuff like that, and just basically violate the laws and stuff like that. Mr. Speaker, so we already have a lot of we can see that a lot of we can see that Facebook are being sued. We are seeing that criminals are being caught, these hackers are being caught and stuff like that. And the thing is, the main problem is the hacker thingy is basically exists from the existence of the internet itself. It doesn't need the PET and stuff like that, which is already proved the current status quo that the method currently that are working are not efficient enough. We need more security. What I don't understand from the opposition side is basically is if those kind of thing doesn't work, if those kind of thing doesn't have doesn't improve, we just basically just abolish it. Instead, we from the opposition side, we are trying to say that these kind of things have benefits. We have a lot of things that we could basically improve day by day, and we don't understand that they are providing us the mechanism that basically doesn't work at the best. Now is the best thing that now is one thing that you must understand right now. PET is actually in the norm today. It is widely used. So that itself just proves that this is the best mechanism that we have right now. So the opposition side right now, they must engage with us. They must provide what is the better mechanism that they could bring to their table. What is the better mechanism that they could basically output or basically overpower PET itself. So we don't see where are the relations between the PET. Sit down. All right. So and then they are talking about how criminals are hiding behind PET and stuff like that. Okay, again, we are talking about we have cyber patrol, we have hackers that be harmed and stuff like that. So basically, at the end of the day, it is not the PET sort itself. The hacking issue it has been happening for years and years and years, and will continue on going with or without the existence of PET itself. So we are here. We are trying to improve our privacy and our security, not just basically just pressing PET itself based on mere assumptions and just mere facts. All right. So moving on to the opposition side, which is the better side. Our case today is we are talking about how PET itself doesn't need full detail, doesn't need full information about yourself. How these kind of things are basically using AI to improve themselves, to make themselves smarter, to basically just use your name and stuff like that to basically know who you are, know what characteristic you are. So they don't need like big information. They don't need your data a lot. So there will be at least the less risk of exploitation of data itself, because PET itself is secured. We already told you from the first speaker to the second speaker, and there are also no danger that has been provided by the government side today about how dangerous PET is. So we believe that PET is secure. We know that PET is secure. So there is no problem that is happening between PET itself, and we believe that PET is good enough. And then we also talk about what will happen without PET itself. So we could say that PET is a security. Yes, you could say that maybe it will leak and something like that, and maybe there will be criminal issues which already happen nowadays. So what will happen without PET itself? We believe that now the current status quo is right now that we have methods that are not working. We have methods that are basically being hacked and stuff like that. So PET itself is improving daily by daily, and PET itself is a solution to those kind of problems. So what are the conclusion for the debate today? The debate today is we are talking about we from the opposition. We believe that PET is a solution. PET is a method or a step. Basically, that everyone needs. PET is an important thing that we should have, and we should acknowledge the safety and the privacy is, that doesn't even contain any problems that the government side state today. And basically, the government side today is just basically making mere assumptions and mere facts to basically saying that, okay, if we don't have PET, maybe we have other methods which they don't state, which they don't even make out a new mechanism to basically engage to us or confront us. So we believe that we from the opposition side is the better side, and we believe that PET should be here. And by that, I rest my case here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now that we have heard all of the three speakers from both teams, we shall take a short break of 1 minute. During this time, both of the government and the opposition teams will prepare the reply speech. 1 minute starts now. The time of 1 minute has ended. I shall now invite the second speaker from the opposition team to deliver the reply speech.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, you're fine.
All right. We'll start in 1, 2, 3. Now, what we can see in today's debate, now which side opposition had truly told you what is the better way. We talked to you on the fact that privacy enhancing technology is even better than not having any. And that I think, by stating that it actually provides more harms, but there is no mechanism. Therefore, where do you go? Does the government still wants this to happen, or provide us something that we can leverage more on? But at the end of the day, we decided the opposition truly disagrees on today's motion that this House regrets the privacy enhancing technology and its impact to privacy. Now, what am I going to talk in my reply speech, right? First, I'm going to talk about long-term effect. Second, I'm going to talk the impact. Third, I'm going to talk about the best case scenario in which is better in terms of the stakeholder that they are catering to, right? Now, first, I'm going to talk about long-term effect, right? What we can see is actually by using PET, at the end of the day, I need to actually concede that there are actually problems. But at the end of the day, whether the problem that lies between the system itself or the people that use it in the first place, right? Whether the big companies are misusing it. I think that's like something is even problematic. But I think it is even better because the system itself has actually no flaws. I think that the side government failed to actually clarify to us that system is actually even flaws in the first place, right? But what they simply go on to say that the premise is just basically that people are using this data, by having PET, that people are using this data that to probably sell it and to probably use it for them. When I just say to you that this problem actually exists even without PET in the first place, right? And then they simply say probably a few things I want to clarify here, that they simply say that they are already act in status quo, that they don't need PET. Look, PET already exists in the status quo. That act is already there. I think there is no need for you to not have to not have PET in the first place, because there are also acts further support PET in the first place, right? Now, when we see this long-term effect of using actually PET, is it actually harmful? Is it actually beneficial on our side or on their side? We believe that actually using PET itself, at the very least, there is some sort of layer of protection before you use your bank transaction, before you use it to before you put in your details and you want to pay your bills and so on. I think the fact that they are safety layer is even better than not having any probably on their side, because they simply say that there are harms on PET and they agree on it, and then that should happen at the end of the day, which I don't think should happen, because PET at very least PET provides a very good layer, right? Now, second, I'm going to talk about the impact, right? So PET, is it actually good, on our side or on their side? By having PET, we believe that impact is even better, because that people will actually feel safer, that they will actually opt towards using for technology that has PET, because technology like PET actually do provide this kind of safety bubble before they key in their details, so that they can feel actually feel that they are actually safe, and they do not have to feel like their safety are compromised at the end of the day. I think that is even better, because it goes towards the impact of the society that use it. When people lives in a very good, harmonical, without feeling that their safety is being taken away. I think that is actually even better at the end of the day, right? Now, let me talk to you about the best case scenario. In which side is better to cater to the stakeholder? We told you already on our side is even better, because having PET in the first place, and probably like you want to enhance it at the end of the day. I think it's even better to have PET, because changing it or not having it in the first place is going to be even more problematic, because the data and safety and privacy of people are at stake. We're not talking about we're not talking about simply merely data or probably you're playing game. I think you're talking about data of people, or privacy, which is being taken away and being hacked or probably taken away by other people. I think therefore we decide opposite truly disagrees with today's motion, and I, the reply speech person, would like to rest my case. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for the remarks. I shall now call upon the Deputy Prime Minister from the government team to deliver their reply speech.
Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to read this motion for the last time so that the panel and everyone can hear. This House regrets the privacy enhancing technology and its impacts towards privacy. The motion does not read this House would ban PET completely and remove it from the face of the earth. There is no onus on government to actually provide to you like some form of alternatives. And even and the very fact that all three speeches have to repetitively say this just shows to you that they are unable to bring out any value from pets in the first place, right? A value judgment debate is about which side able to show whether this tool, that is true, it is a tool, whether this tool has done more harm than good. And I think that government has shown more than enough reasoning as to why it has done more harm than good in the first place, right? Even with them repetitively saying this for 3 rounds, we still tell you that we still have like things on the ground, like basic data acts. We still have things like not like basic financial transactions that still existed. They're still being able to exist, right? The issue now that was highlighted all the way from Nelson's speech that all 3 speakers that want to deal with is that a lot of this exploitation is done legally, because there are no laws preventing companies from taking your data while you are utilizing these technologies and selling it to other organizations. This could look like your cyber criminals who want could look like your government, and that is why all of our harms are real. All the harms that you mentioned, like political manipulation, harms like protection for cyber criminals to actually continue doing all of their crimes without being traced by government bodies, being traced by like all these like spyware organizations and whatnot, and other harms such as not just your exploitation of data and like the mass reaping of profits that these companies get, like for free with your quote unquote consent, apparently, right? That is the harms that we all brought to you on this debate, right? I think the opposition had two choices. Number one, somehow deny history, deny that the Panama Papers happened, which is what they did basically, and sorry to say it did happen. It's funny because they said like, oh, pets, it's relevant today because pets are still being used. Then how did all this exploitation happen? How did all these harms happen? We'll tell you why. Because face it, it basically did not work as good as opposition would want it to work, right? We're not saying that pets have no benefits. We do recognize that even if we take government at their best, we take opposition at their best case scenario, it doesn't negate all of the harms that happen under today's world, or it doesn't negate all the harms that happen under our side, right? Comparative is all about weighing out the harms and goods. We show you that, oh my God, we show you that all the harms on our side far outweighs any form of benefits that are being given to the user. We think that under both worlds, users will get screwed over anyway. You're right. Leader of opposition already said technology is moving very fast. It has moved so fast that no matter what we can do to actually mitigate all of these harms, we already reached the point of being too late, right? But at least it is time for humans to actually call out all of these things from even happening in the first place. Recognize that pets have done more harm than good. Sadly, opposition chose to deny facts, chose to deny, not assumptions by the way, like clear flashed out mechanizations and like analysis as to how these companies operate. Show you the incentive structures to make money. Show you how we use how they utilize this technology to get your data. Show you how cyber criminals operate. Show you the nuances of the technology that are able to give all the benefits towards the wrong people and actually screwing over the most vulnerable stakeholders at the end of the day. We think that we are the side that actually shows you that there are more harms than good. That alone, and the fact that government opposition unable to show why it has brought more good than harm is more than enough to show that in value metric wise, pets is just overall worse off. Proud to propose.
Thank you, speakers and educators, for participating in this debate. We have now come to an end. With that, the House of Parliament is adjourned.
GG guys.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
It was a good debate.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Good luck.
luck.
Wait, is
Good
this
luck.
still live?
Yes, it's still live.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I already know.
hold on. I'll like, okay.
Thank you
yeah,
guys.
okay.
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Oh, by the way, if
Thank
anybody
you.
wants personal feedback for tomorrow, after the decisions have been made, you can contact me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
How do I contact you?
Or contact
Your
Matthew.
contact number?
Hold
okay.
on. Yeah, you can either contact Matthew or me because I'm adjudicating with Matthew. But my number is, hold on, I'll just type it here.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
No
Aisha.
problem. Okay, I'm gonna leave the studio now.
Thank you.
I can leave the
Bye.
studio, right?